You can't use the old tactics. You can't just run TV ads and send out mailers and expect to win. And so the reason we need permanent infrastructure when it comes to a ground game is because the left's doing it. They're building they're really creating an environment and changing the behavior of Democrat voters. And so that's what we have to do, right? We have to get Republicans that are not likely to vote on election day to get a ballot sent to their house and then get them used to sending that back.
34.5% of all mail-in votes went to President Trump in Pennsylvania in 2024. That's the power of the American people standing up, fighting back, and taking our country back one state at a time. Now, what happened in Pennsylvania in 2024 isn't just a single victory. It's a pattern that we're seeing in the state at large. We've been talking a lot about this of late. Pennsylvania is turning solidly red thanks to the hard work of many grassroots movements of patriots talking to voters and getting them registered and signed up to vote. And we're not just winning, we're building a movement that's going to crush the left for generations to come. Pennsylvania has been viewed as a battleground state for years now. The left thought they had it all literally locked up with their mail-in schemes, which we saw specifically in 2020 with the COVID rule changes to voting. But incredible patriots like Scott Pressler and the man behind the Pennsylvania chase, Cliff Maloney, refused to allow the state to be turned over to the left. They actually learned the tactics that the left was using to secure elections and transform them into tools for our own benefit. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, then, this happened. A shocking loss last week when the Democrats claimed a state Senate seat in a district that Trump won by 15 points. It hasn't flipped blue since 1978. What on earth happened? And how can we make sure that it doesn't happen again, particularly in this Keystone State? Well, joining me today is a hero to this channel, and he's here to discuss the future of Pennsylvania. And that's the one and only Cliff Maloney, the leader of the Pennsylvania chase. We helped Cliff. You guys helped Cliff take Pennsylvania back. We're not letting it go, man. We're not letting it go, Cliff. I love it. We got to keep Pennsylvania, but I don't know, this District 34. I'm getting ahead of myself. Cliff, welcome. It's great to see you as always.
Appreciate you having me, Doc. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was great hanging out with you in Harrisburg. And with some guy named Jack something like Pasobic, something like that. I don't know. He's getting up there. He'll get there someday.
He kept shouting promo code POSO the entire event. Promo code POSO.
Promo code. I'm like this guy is so professional. It's great. I'm kind of like I think it's promo code Turley. I don't know. Try promo code POSO. I don't know. Maybe I'll just get a little finder's fee on that. All right, come on now, Cliff. Let's look at the big picture. I try to remind everybody, especially at that stunner in District 34. I try to remind everyone we are the Super Bowl champs. We won the big one. We won the World Series. We won the Stanley Cup. Pick your sport. So let's start there. Walk us through, if you would, how you turned a tactic that the left had been using for years now, mail-in voting, into a winning strategy for conservatives. What was the key to flipping that script?
Yeah, well, I think the first key was President Trump himself, right? So I've said this on your show before, Steve, and your audience is fantastic. They stepped up, total patriots, to help us really pull this off. But I think Trump, we had kind of this cultural shift where in 2020, they changed these rules and we all were like, well, let's vote on election day. It's the most secure way to vote. And, we're just going to stick to that. And then we started to learn lessons each year as kind of the culture shifted. And we kind of got to a point where 2024, we said, look, if we don't adapt to these rules, if we don't use the tactics that the Democrats use, we don't think we can win in these swing states. And so in Pennsylvania, there's 50 days of voting. When I grew up, there was only one day. You voted on election day or you didn't. But with these 50 days of voting, Biden understood, and he doesn't understand much. So that's saying something. Biden understood that if they go out and they target Democrats that are not likely to vote, but you send them a ballot and they send a ballot. I mean, Christmas, they almost sent a ballot to every registered Democrat in the state of
Right.
Pennsylvania.
Right.
But they realized that they became much more likely to vote when they had a ballot delivered to their door. And so in 24, we just took their playbook. Okay, I'm not a creative guy, right? I mean, I'm just imitating what it is that Biden did. And we used those tactics to get all these Republicans who were not likely to vote to request a mail-in ballot. And we actually had a higher return rate than the Democrats. If you just look at the percent that came back, because Republicans are adapting quickly now. And those low propensities voted, which is what made up the difference to flip the state.
Do you still run into Republican skepticism for mail-in and early voting?
Yeah,
and if so, yeah, what's your apologetic to that?
Yeah, I get it all the time, and I get it from honest people who are looking for solutions, right? I'm not talking about those that, have some grand conspiracy, but people have a lot of questions. I do. And so, my answer to that is simple. One, we ask people to drive and hand in their mail-in ballot. Right. I always say this, trusting the post office is a big flag that we get from a lot of people. And so that's my kind of solution to that is, look, the county offices are open. Get your mail-in ballot, go drop it off yourself. It's just as if you voted. You're handing it to the election worker. You don't have to deal with the post office. Number two, and this is a softball. I didn't even ask you to ask me this, Steve. We look so much into this in terms of understanding who gets to adjudicate these elections. And you saw crazy videos out of Pennsylvania, Bucks County, where the county commissioner is saying, well, we know it's illegal, but we're going to let it go forward, and then maybe the courts will rule on it. What? Where I'm from, if something's illegal and your job is to interpret the rules, you don't go in that direction.
Did she say something like, nobody's obeying the law anyway, so what the heck? Something like, it was just absurd. It was beyond
great
absurd.
Justification. I mean, you really have to dance in circles to figure it out. So what we're doing, Steve, to combat that is actually in 2025, we've relaunched the PHAs, and people said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, listen, we have to compete with Governor Josh Shapiro. We can't give up a year of gains that we just made to get these low propensities in the habit of voting. So we're going to do this every year. So then the question is, well, what are you focused on? And so we've decided, because of election integrity, there are 9,200 judge of elections at one for every precinct in PA. And so what we're doing is we're going out and we're asking people to be part of our judge of elections program. And if you run, you need 10 signatures. It's pretty simple. We will deploy our ballot chasers to back you up for your judge of elections campaign. So obviously in 24, we were top of the ticket focused on Trump. Now we're inverted. We are going local. We are going grassroots, and we're going to try to win 1,000 judge of elections campaigns in 2025. And Steve, why this is so important is when our ballot chasers go in and get these people elected, the judge of elections that we elect will control all of the on-the-ground decisions for 26, 27, 28, and 29. Obviously, 26 and 28 being major, major moments, not just for PA, but for the country.
You were talking about this in Harrisburg, if I recall. You were on the stage before Jack and I came out, and Jack was just chatting with me the whole time, so I couldn't hear it. But I think you were talking about like either most or a significant number of these judges don't even get elected; they just get appointed because nobody even bothered to run, something akin to that.
So this is why when I started to dig into this with my team and we were deciding, which race, when we looked at these judge of elections, I couldn't figure out, I ask a lot of stupid questions. I'm a math teacher, so I'm used to stupid people, not stupid questions. I can say that. I'm not teaching anymore. But the question I had was, why aren't Democrats talking about this, right? Because nobody runs for these positions. They don't even promote it. Well, the answer is this. In 2021, 40% of the judge of elections, nobody ran.
Wow. 40%.
The reason is then the government gets to appoint a government employee. And we know those are all Republicans, right? So if it's 9-1 Democrat to Republican, they're pretty much, when no one runs, it's a Democrat win. So that's a problem we're trying to solve. And the other cool thing is if we have 1,000 judge of elections, think about the power you have with all those elected officials calling on Governor Josh Shapiro to fix our election systems, calling on county commissioners within their local area to take the right actions. I love this grassroots approach, and pairing it with our PHA's program, I think it's going to be pretty powerful.
Well, we're going to be your number one supporter, man, or number two if you go in the war room. You deserve it, and this. I get so excited. I love the local architecture and structure that's being built that hopefully then just translates automatically into federal government. So good news about Pennsylvania. You know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I think most of our listeners know. They're calling Pennsylvania the new Ohio. So it's a battleground state that's kind of going through the same kind of ruby transformation that Ohio, which was it's a swing state, a purple state, voted for Obama twice. What Ohio went through some years back, I think starting more or less in 2016. So what do you see as the biggest factors that are driving the shift? Because it's not just the election results. It seems to be the voter registration. Something's really going on here where red Pennsylvania is waking up.
Yeah. So number one, I think low propensity voters. I think PA would have been starting this trend much sooner if the rules hadn't changed in 2020. So I think we're catching up on getting the low propensities out to vote. Registration has been trending in our direction, for practically, definitely the last 4 years. We're getting close. We're under 200,000, meaning the deficit of Republican versus Democrat registrations. And if you look at active voters, we're practically becoming neck and neck. So all of those trends are helping us. But when you ask why, I think there's a lot of mixes to it. One, voters had a chance to compare Trump's first 4 years, to Obama's 4 years. I think a lot of this woke stuff, the DEI, the failed military efforts, people want that feeling that the actual blue collar worker is heard. And I don't think any candidate has ever represented the opposite of that more than Kamala Harris. Yeah. And I just think that whole trend, and by the way, that's going to be the big question, right? Is who becomes the Democrat leader? What is their message? Because right now, I'm feeling very good about Pennsylvania becoming the next Ohio because I don't even know what they're selling. It's not even like they're selling something and it's bad. Like they don't have a message. No. But my warning to everybody out there that gets cocky and thinks, look at what happened in Lancaster, right? Yep. When we have things that pop up, it shows you Governor Josh Shapiro might not have any type of political leader nationally. They might not have any type of message. They might be scrambling to figure it out. But they take politics very seriously. Yep. It's a business for them. It's a religion for them.
Right.
And so when you analyze that Lancaster race, right, I'm not going to point fingers on our side. We should have been involved. We weren't. I'll own that. I trusted some consultants, people that said, Trump won by 15. Don't worry about it. The Democrats had over 100 people, might not have been from the campaign, but of the groups like Indivisible, they went out and they ran up the score with mail-in ballots. So my pledge to all the folks on the Turley Nation here, we will never miss another election in PA because the only way you win, even in a deep red seat, is if you get out and compete with them on chasing the mail-in ballots. That's got to be the game plan. So I think the trends are continuing in our direction. But if we don't play by the rules, the elections are not going to be really a clear image of what's happening with the trends because we're giving them ground. So we got to double down on knowing what works and doing it.
Do you think so? I came across this term in political analysis, refractory period. I didn't know that. So I don't know if it's common parlance among electors, as it were. But so after, you see it in sports, after just all of the emotional highs and energy and all the money and time that you put into an actual winning campaign, once you win and win big, there's almost like this, there's this social exhaustion. It's almost like the hangover from the balls, the parties, and we just kind of tune out for a while. We get back to the regularly scheduled lives. We're not, we'll get a text of, hey, you gotta contribute to this campaign. Oh gosh, I gave so much. No, I'm not interested anymore. Do you think District 34? So this is for people who don't know, this is northern Lancaster County, deep red that went blue with the state Senate. So do you think that was a case of just even in the infrastructure side of things? Do you think this was a case of some refractory period?
Well, what I've always learned is there's two excuses that the consultant class, and I mean the bad consultants, the establishment, there are two excuses anytime that there's a loss that they throw out there. Number one is they say, oh, the candidate quality wasn't there. And number two is they talk about national trends and they talk about the idea that, Republicans are less motivated than Democrats. And the left does the same thing, right? A lot of their consultants are just as corrupt. So let's analyze that with Lancaster. Number one, Josh Parsons is a great candidate. He's a patriot. I was very excited about his race. Anybody that says he was not a good candidate, they're just not in tune with what's going on. He's had more votes than pretty much anybody. When he ran, he was the county commissioner. So that narrative, which some of the consultants will use, that's out the window. Mm-hmm. Number two, when you talk about these folks that are running for office and people are talking about the trends, sure, Steve, of course the Democrats are more amped up than the Republicans. But I just don't buy that as a reason that you take a district that Trump won by 15 and it swings that much.
Right.
So to answer your question bluntly, I mean, I'm out here right now trying to raise ballot chaser sponsors. Yes, it was much easier in 2024 because it was now, it was immediate. It was the biggest swing state. And the one problem we had was the ground game, right? So it was easy to go out and say, hey, chip in $175 to sponsor a ballot chaser. And then we got, support from a lot of your folks, people around the country. But now it's interesting. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely tougher to get people to realize, look, we're not going to let up. If we make PA the next Ohio in 2028, they can't win.
They can't win.
They can't win a national election if we make Pennsylvania ruby red. So that's my big plug and my big pitch to everybody is, look, if you want to double down, and if you saw Lancaster, or you saw what happened in Wisconsin, or you saw how close those Florida races were, well, now's the time to step up. Give us $175 a month to keep these folks in the field. And that's how we have to compete with the Soros money. I don't like it. I'd love to take the year off, but we're committed to doubling down and making this permanent infrastructure. And I think that's the only way we overcome some of that, relaxing after the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that. And we've got links down below, guys, for you to click on and help out Cliff and the Pennsylvania Chase, as you have done time and time again. It's a wonderful symbiotic relationship that we have, a symbiotic relationship that spells victory in the end, or like I said in my with the latest Supreme Court decision, what is it? Another win. That's how CNN began. Another win for the Trump administration. I think I love those two words. Another win. So as we wrap up here, obviously, I mean, you were the center of the universe for several months in 2024. Which I was really excited about. I'm in, I'm in Delaware. I'm like 10 minutes from the Pennsylvania line, but I was kind of hunkering down here in Delaware, and you guys were rocking and rolling in Pennsylvania. You did the unthinkable, as it were. You created an infrastructure that won Trump this key state, the Keystone State. How can other states, what can they learn from that? We're looking at Jersey now, possibly, and they came within 5, this working class realignment. That's a real possibility. New Hampshire with Sununu running for Senate. That might be some pretty hot for a flip, possibly Maine, even Minnesota. Minnesota tends to vote to the right of Virginia. A lot of people don't realize. So what do you think other states can learn from your victory in Trump's victory that you made happen and helped to make happen in 2024?
Yeah, well, first I'll offer this to any patriots out there. I mean, if people are interested, I'm happy to share our playbook. As long as you're aligned with us principally, we're happy to kind of walk people through how we did it. I will share this, though. It is a grind, right? Steve, to go out and raise $3 million, 175 hours at a time. Sure, we had a couple funders that came in significantly, but that's the thing I think a lot of people miss. It's not the tactics. It's not the messaging. It's not hiring. It's not building and scaling and logistics. You can't do any of that if you can't put, gas in the tank.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, as a blue collar kid from the Philly suburbs, I don't endorse the fact that it takes money, but that's the frustrating part. Is I could easily just quit and say, hey, it was too hard to raise money. But that's the stomach you got to have for this, right? Do you want to go out there, meet with grassroots folks, travel around the country, Long nights in hotels, a lot of Ramada Inns, not the nicest places. We were just staying at the Penn Harris. Love those folks, but we're not at the Ritz. So
Right.
I'm happy to share that with anybody, and just to explore and share tactics. You asked about New Jersey. So we've had conversations with New Jersey and Virginia for their big governor's races in the off year. We at Citizens Alliance, we're not going into those states in any way with money I'm raising, but I offered the same thing to them. I said, hey, I've got teams of hundreds of people. I said, I'll lend them to you guys. So if the establishment, not always the establishment, but if these groups want to come up with funds, I'm happy to import some of our people, our managers, our structure. We'll help them book the Airbnbs, but I don't need credit. Right. But if I can keep taking care of patriots by getting them jobs in other places, then that's fine. New Hampshire is a state that Citizens Alliance plays in. So, that's one of our big targets for 2026 and 2028.
Yeah.
So we're going to triple down there. But New Hampshire, I don't want to say is a side project, but I want to be clear with your audience. We make Pennsylvania the red wall.
Yeah.
Democrats cannot win nationally. I'm from PA. That is what I'm all in on.
Yep. Yep. I agree with you 1,000%. And it does seem PA, Nevada, which is it's going very much like Pennsylvania. It's going red. Arizona, I mean, they're hitting almost, what is it now? 8% voter registration advantage margin with Republicans. New Mexico, we got to keep an eye on. That's going, especially with the Latino working class moving over to the MAGA movement. I mean, it's amazing, but I agree with you 1,000%. The ground zero is the Keystone State. All right, so here he goes. What do you need us to do, Cliff? Tell us what to do. What should we do going from here? What action items can we take?
Yeah, number one, if anybody knows anybody in the state of Pennsylvania that wants to run for judge of elections, we will get them elected. I can't guarantee it legally, but I can tell you that with 40% of the seats having no one running, people can get involved at phas.com. The biggest ask, Steve, is for people to step up right now to build this red wall. $175. If you can do a one-time gift, if you can do it monthly, it's even better. That puts a ballot chaser on the ground for a full day. And my promise, 100% of that money goes in their pocket to their gas, their pay, their actual housing. $175, phas.com. And look, I hate, being a broken record, but I just got to thank your entire fan base. I mean, we were in a spot, I'll be honest here, and a little vulnerable. I mean, we were going to have to pull people out of the field in 24. And when I came on the show, multiple times, we were raising tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. It really just means from all of us at the PHA's family, I want to thank your fan base. And now it's time to double down. We want to make this thing happen and make it happen in PA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, you heard the call again. We delivered before. Let's deliver again. It's never an off year when we're trying to save civilization here. So click the links below to learn more about Cliff's works in Pennsylvania and how you can support this amazingly crucial effort. If you want to be a part of saving civilization, it's just a click away. That's how you do it. Click that link below. Make sure you're supporting Cliff, and you will save civilization. You will keep Pennsylvania red, and you will box out the Democrats permanently from the executive office. Cliff, you're the best, man. Aren't I seeing you in a couple of days? Are you coming out over to Lancaster for our event?
I'll see you Thursday. So we got to make this a weekly occurrence.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But this time we're keeping Poso out of it, right? That's we're
gonna block him out.
Now it's my promo code, and I'll have a big, long, cumbersome one. All right, Cliff. Can't wait to see you. Thanks for everything that you do, man. We couldn't do it without you, man. We couldn't do it without you.
Steve. Thanks so much.
Love you.